Hello, everyone. It's the Catholic CEO, Henry Kutarna. Today's Catholic Business Wisdom series discussion is about actions that you can take. Prove that you're a Catholic business owner in the Catholic economy. And so it's not about me telling you that you should act in a certain way, but it's to suggest that there might be a standard that we would apply to portray by our actions that we are in fact Catholic and successful in business. So I'm going to cover today 4 topics. One is the following of just laws with great rigor. Number 2, to do more than what the minimum law requirement is. And number 3, to practice the faith overtly in a certain way. And then finally, to do your homework, to run your business successfully and to run it effectively and efficiently. So I'm going to cover these 4 topics, and hopefully the conclusion from this could be that you might see what actions we should be following as Catholic business owners. First of all, following the just laws. It is important as Catholics to, first of all, distinguish between just and unjust laws. And I would say for the most part in business, the laws that you will face and that I will face are probably more or less just. Yes, there are certain things that are unjust, but they're so visible and they're so blatant and they're so full of controversy that others are fighting the battle. So you may not, as a Catholic business owner, especially a small business owner, have the time or the money or the acumen to actually fight these issues. Still, for the most part, the laws that we have to follow are what you would call just and proper. And so, for example, if you are following health and safety regulations, various laws of the state and the province and the country, the taxation and financial laws, the banking laws, the filing of financial reports, the accounting principles, the doctrine of fair trade and fairness, and all of the quality and safety standards that are exhibited by our laws, for the most part, you would follow those with great zeal and overtly so, and with minimum of fuss, you might say. Following just laws, that seems like a reasonable step to take. Now, let's move to the second topic, which is to do more than the minimum that good law requires. Here, I think it's incumbent on us Catholic business owners to move towards a greater ambition, let's call it, of our commitment to the law. The system of law is virtuous. It is supposed to be virtuous, and in our adherence to the law, we will recall that all of the laws come from God, in effect. And yes, some are made by man or some are implemented by man, but all of the order and the regulatory kind of climate in the universe, as per God's laws, are incumbent upon us to follow. How can we do more than the minimum that the law requires? Well, one example, my favorite example really, is the movement towards a just wage. The concept, as you know, of a just wage is that one breadwinner in the family, in the traditional Catholic family model, where there is a breadwinner, usually the husband, the spouse, father of the family, works outside of the home or inside of the home in a family business and produces the income necessary to sustain the family, to feed, clothe, and shelter the whole family. The mother in that model works in the home, nurturing the children, cooking, preparing, cleaning, working on clothing, educating the children to a point, particularly in the area of prayer and religion, and even in some families homeschooling them or preparing them otherwise for movement towards the Catholic education system. What does it mean if you're in a small business to move towards a just wage for your employees? You obviously can't pay twice your salaries and your contract rules that you are now exhibiting, but you want to move a little bit towards it. So what would be wrong? I just postulate this for your consideration. What would be wrong with paying 5% above market or 10% above market? Now, it could be argued, and I understand this, that could be hard on the business. That could put you in trouble. But if we follow Catholic principles of excellence and run our business sharply and with great attention to detail, there's no reason to assume that having some slight increase in pay beyond what the minimum requires or beyond even what the market is telling you to pay, That is an overt and a direct way of moving towards the just wage. So it's an example, and it's one that perhaps is the most tangible way there is. There are other examples, for example, giving time off for important family events. If you are a Catholic business owner, you may not necessarily have all Catholic employees, but you might respect the family in a certain overt way. You might say, when it's birthdays or graduations, or in the case of Catholics, First Holy Communions, confirmations, baptisms, even weddings and funerals, to show some sensitivity and give people time off for these events, perhaps trading that time for other time, or perhaps gratuitously giving it as a time off, not to excess, in a well-balanced, prudent manner, but showing that you respect the family structure. Some companies, as you know, have staggered start times and end times, and they have a section in the middle, 4 or 5 or 6 hours in the middle of the day where everyone should be on site or working remotely, but available. And then so some people might want to come in late because they need to drop children off, school, childcare, etc. Some people might want to leave early because for the same reasons. And some spousal families where there are two breadwinners, they will trade this. And so there's a very common protocol out in the world today about this. But we could be better as Catholic business owners to show sensitivity to the Catholic patterns of life and to be respectful of that. And in general, to be respectful of the family as a fundamental unit of society, knowing in the family life it is very complicated today. Many families, most families, many people say, require two incomes. It's very difficult to live on one income alone. Now, I will assert that it's possible, and I know that I might be biased in this viewpoint. However, this is an important phenomenon. Another example would be to treat people, like our staff and contractors, simply better, with greater respect, with greater sensitivity to their needs, to explain, to understand, to take into account their input, their ideas, and to generate, a dialogue and an environment where people are able to listen to each other. Yes, in the end, you're the boss and you run the company. But to show people some greater respect and treat people better is an important thing. I hear constantly, and I'm sure you do too, that employers do not care what their employees say. They have no idea what is on their mind as concerns, and they really treat them in many ways in a somewhat disrespectful manner. I won't say no more about it than that, but you know what I'm talking about. So that's the second category of actions for Catholic business owners, doing more than the minimum that the law requires. The third area, obviously, is to practice the faith. And I'm not here to tell you exactly how you should practice the faith, but if you are a well-informed Catholic with a conscience that's well-formed, and you understand the teachings of the Church, you know that you're going to always, every action you take is a binary choice. Will it help you get to heaven? Yes or no? Will it help you to slide down the slippery slope, to the other place? Yes or no? And so we could govern our business activities, our actions, everything we say, everything we think, everything we do, by that simple binary test of, does it get me to heaven or not? Is it going to be good for the state of my soul or not? Is it going to be good for my family's souls or not? And so if we govern ourselves in that binary method, I think there's going to be some positive aspects to it. And certainly going to Mass more frequently than the minimum requirement, attending to the sacraments, confession, Holy Communion, listening and understanding and following the commandments and the precepts of the Church, going to adoration, having a prayer life, working on the virtues, emulating the saints, possessing the spirit of charity, in other words, providing funds and time to the Church, for others, tithing, working on parish events, parish activities, involving oneself in parish life. These are all ways to practice the faith overtly. And if our employees know that we're committed that way, that is exemplary, and you're not doing it, of course, just for the public, persona of it. You're doing it for good and just reasons. But that's the third element of actions that we could take as business people, is to govern ourselves by that binary yes-no choice and test every action against that little formula, and certainly practice the faith. The fourth category, I would call it doing your homework. If you're going to run a business and you're a Catholic business owner and you're listening to this and you're going to try to act in a more overt way as a Catholic and to govern yourself, and your principles of business are all in accord with the teachings of the Church, you still need to run a good, sharp business. And that means you need to be better than most. You need to be the best in all of your market, your geographic area, and in your product line, and in the kind of service you provide. You need to be the best. And so you would need to have a good business plan that forecasts and simulates financial scenarios and gets ready for various eventualities. You would need to create good financial statements and have good bookkeeping practices so that you can have accurate financial statements on time, complete, and measuring certain key metrics in a more overt way so that you can govern your business accordingly and take steps quickly when something goes off the rails. This is an important aspect. Quality, QA, quality assurance, of course, you will want to produce the best service, the best products with the best sensitivity to your customers. You will want to care for your customers better than anyone else. The level of service will be higher than in any other business. People may not know that you're a Catholic, but they will notice that there's something different about your business if you're going to govern yourself in a Catholic fashion. Certainly time management, how you govern your calendar, how you balance your life between your family, your business, and all your other obligations, including your spiritual life. That means you're going to be a great time manager. You're not going to be someone who says, my calendar ran away from me. Yes, emergencies happen. Yes, surprises happen. But a good time manager knows that you can come back quickly. You can recover from an urgent situation or an emergency rather quickly. And I don't mean weeks. I mean in days or hours. For the most part, yes, there are sometimes major crises in the family and major things that happen. Major illness, major damage to property. There are so many things that happen in life. But for the most part, life is routine and is something that proceeds on a regular basis with some certainty, some degree of certainty. And so managing our calendars well is a good thing. So you see, in this brief argument today, you might say, about actions we can take as Catholics, I am arguing for and I am proposing that we follow the laws that are just with exemplary precision. We do more than the minimum law requires for good things. We respect the family. We practice the faith. We govern ourselves by that binary choice, yes or no. Will this action, will this thing, this thought, this activity get me to heaven or not? Yes or no. Even though there are complexities, there are nuances, there are subtleties. I get all that. But still, it's always a binary choice. Once you do your research, you think it through, you pray, you do your analysis, you make a decision, you consult with your spouse. All of these things, yes. But still, in the end, the binary question is there. Do you take this action? It will help you or it will hurt you. That's the test of it. And doing your homework and running your business effectively. These are all the most important actions that we can take as Catholic business people. It is my intention today to propose some of these ideas and to simply stimulate your thinking so that as you consider the concept of the Catholic economy and the Catholic Business Wisdom series, you know that by your actions you will be able to follow our maxim, which is you can be Catholic and successful in business. So I hope this has been of some help to you. God bless you in your business, and we'll see you next time. It's the Catholic CEO, Henry Kutarna.